Hello viewers out there, welcome to part 3 of the video series Docker Basics Deploying Your Containerized Application to the Cloud. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to build the Dockerfile and start a container. So before you do that, make sure you go to your Google Cloud instance and upload your application. You can simply do that by zipping your application and then uploading it to your Google Cloud instance. Before you start running your application, make sure you install Docker, and you need to run a set of commands in Ubuntu to get Docker installed in your machine. So let's continue. So the first command that you need to run is apt update. You can also use sudo if you have root permissions. So once that's done, we need to make sure that we install other libraries as well. So the three libraries that we're going to install here is like the app transport HTTPS, CS certificates, and software properties common. Let's try installing those. So press continue. Yes. So once that's done, we need to download Docker from docker.com, the official image for Ubuntu. So let's download that. To make sure you paste the following command. So once that's done, we're going to add the Docker repository to apt sources. So simply type this command in your machine. Next, we're going to update the package database with the Docker packages from the newly added repo. So let's try that. You run an apt update for that. So once that's done, we have to make sure that we install from the Docker repo instead of the default Ubuntu repo. So in order to do that, you need to type the following command. Now you'll notice that the Docker CE is not installed, but the candidate for installation is from the Docker repository for Ubuntu. Then finally we have to install Docker. So in order to do that, we just type apt install docker-ce. So you can press continue by saying yes. So let's check if Docker is already running. To do that, you need to type systemctl status docker. This will give you whether Docker is running in your computer. So you see that Docker is already running here. Let's clear that. So I've already unzipped my application in this folder, and you can see it right here. I've already have my application unzipped and ready to be built. So the first command that you need to run is, so the first thing that you need to do is like you need to cd in to that folder. And you should see all the files in here. So what's going to happen here is like when you run the Docker build, it's going to read that instructions from the Docker file and it will build the image. You see the set of instructions already happening. You see the copy, it's copying all the files from that directory to app sources, and it's running a .NET publish, and it's creating a release package, and so on. So one thing I forgot to mention is like when you're building the Docker image, make sure you give it a name. So I'll show you how to give it a name. So you type Docker build dot, and you should use the -t command to tag the image. So once you tag the image, this will have a name on it. So when you're building the container, this will be very useful. But again, if you don't have the tag name, you can always use the container. You can use the image ID to build the container. So now we can start the container. In order to start the container, you just type Docker run, and you can say -d. So what -d does is it will run on the background, and so that means it's interactive. This way you can log into your container, and then you give it a port. So in this case, we exposed port 5000. So I'm going to say 5000, and the host port. So the host port and the container port. And then I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it my app. And then the name of the container. So I'm going to call it my app. That was the name I gave for my image. So once I run this should build the container. So you might be wondering how to get the image ID. I can show you how to do that. You just type Docker images. So this will give you the image ID. So this is what you need to use to run your container. So you just have to replace my app with the image ID. So let's check our container. To check that, we just type Docker ps-a. This will show us our container, which is right here. So how do you know if this application is displaying hello world. So in order to do that, you just type docker logs my app. You just need to use the container ID, or so you just need to use my app, and you see hello world in there. So that's all I have for this video series. So please share, like my video, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Thank you.